What's up, guys? We're gonna bro beats. Today I'm gonna be showing you guys how to make realistic storytelling guitar melodies from scratch. If you guys haven't subbed already or turned post notifications on, make sure you do so because it does help out a lot. Let's hop right into it. So my goal with this video is to hopefully bridge the gap a little bit more from playing a real guitar, right, and clicking in notes. Now you'll never be able to 100% mimic a real guitar with the Midi yet. But since I've been learning guitar, there's some things that I've noticed that is very, very important into mimicking guitar and Midi that I haven't been doing or thought about. So I'm gonna show you that right now. So let's go ahead and go into the lead guitar. All right, so now what we need to do is grab in a scale. All right, now we're gonna be using a major because this will help us with this storytelling vibe. So if you don't know, there's I guess it's a bug in FL where you load this in and then it changes your BPM. For what? I don't know why it's like that, but to bypass it, you just hold Control or Command and you can just click in all types of notes and we can just use that. So let's name it. I can see my keyboard. Okay. So G sharp major is what we're using. All right, now this is for the major. Most of this is for the major. So if you're using a minor, things might be different. So I suggest you follow along with the same scale at least. So let's go to our chords now. So what we're gonna do is get to the note we want to start on. So basically in adjust, you want to end on your root note, not start on it. So how we do that is we start on our root in the beginning and we make a chord downward. So we reverse it. So instead of going up like this, we go down. So, and now C sharp is our beginner, well, not our root, but our start note. So now we pull all this over and then we have a filler right here. Boom. Let's play it. Okay, and it sounds kind of weak right now, but once you add these notes, and I'm just making chords from these notes. Once you add these, make sure they're in order. Actually turn it down. Okay, and then I'm gonna invert these just so it's kind of a little bit more together. It's that simple. All right, so that's how you begin to get that storytelling vibe. So now we're gonna move on to the actual melody. All right, so now we're gonna go over components. This is just a word I use to simplify things for me. And I might use terms that sound really dumb, but that just is what it is. So there are gonna be a lot more components than what I'm gonna show you to make it sound really realistic and convincing. But these I'm gonna show you are the bare minimum you need to make it sound convincing, right? And I'm gonna just make it real robotic just to simplify it. So the first one you need is the leading tone. It's just your starting note. Usually it plays multiple times, something like that. I've shown this in the video before, but usually it's something like that, right? And just let's simplify it, just put one note. The next note is a repeater. The reason I call it a repeater is because it usually repeats multiple times. So definitely right here, and it usually repeats like right here, here, or here. And let me make this larger so you can really see. Right, that's usually where it's at. So how do you get to that? Basically, when you start on your lead note, you make a chord from that lead note. So we can make a chord here, here. So my repeater would be the middle note in between the C and the G. All right, so now we're gonna skip this next part, which is our chain, to get to the wiggle. Now you're like, what is a wiggle? The wiggle is the wiggle, you know what I'm saying? That's the wiggle. All right, I told you some terms would be dumb, but I just call it the wiggle because that's what it looked like it's doing, right? And I usually put mine right here. You can move it around, you can move, the rhythm around or whatever, but I like mine right here. And the reason why is because we can put our chain in easily. And our chain is gonna bridge together the wiggle because you see there's a huge gap. There's a 3-note gap between these notes and these notes. So we're gonna put our chain there to kind of chain it together. Right, and you don't need to have every single one. Right, you don't need to have every single one here. You could just do something like that and you can change it around. It's up to you, but for now, simplify it there. Let's put our lead back in. Now the last part that we need is the doubler. So the wiggle and the doubler is what's going to change your melodies. So let's go to orange, and the doubler will look something like this. And the first note will be very short usually. And if you have a good VST, you can spill this over and it'll like hammer down or whatever. And that is pretty much what you want to do and what we're going to do. So I'm going to highlight this and show you how that sounds. Right. And that's just very robotic. So now what we're going to do is actually make a melody as if we're making a beat, right? So let's go ahead and move on to that part. All right, so now what we're gonna do is use these components over here to make our melody. Now you don't need to use every single component and every bar, every part, but you can just reference it like, okay, let me use a doubler, right? And these things will make it sound a little bit more convincing rather than just like super robotic. So how we find our first notes is basically we go to our backing guitar, and I'm going to follow the notes here at the bottom. You can follow whatever notes you want if you want to go all the way up back into the root. But no matter where you start here, if you want to keep that vibe we started, you want to go back at the end to your root so that you can keep the vibe going. Just copy this. Let's paste it, make these shorter. And let's go ahead and get, actually, wait, so. Let's go ahead and get started now. So we got our reference right here, and I'm gonna just go through and you'll see me use them. You'll start to notice which ones I'm using, right? So let's go ahead and use a repeater. How do we do that? Make a chord, take that middle note, boom, boom. And then let's make a wiggle, change the proportion a little bit. And we could put a doubler right here, actually. Let's put another doubler right here. Stretch it out a little bit. I don't want to go down. I'm hearing it go up, so I'm gonna use a C, but use it up here. Let's use another little wiggle right here. Right, and this is it's not gonna sound completely right, because if you want to use key switches as well if you have a VST like this to make it really sound convincing, but this right here alone is enough. Okay, and let's pull that back up, and I'm just quickly go through this real quick. All right, pretty simple. You can see I'm using the doublers. I'm even using repeaters in here sometimes, and our wiggles, right? And like I said, we're not using every single thing here, right? So this works. Now we're gonna go ahead and move on to our support, which is gonna be extremely easy. All right, so now we're gonna use our third guitar, which is a support, just some background noises. And what I have it on is tremolo. All right, and it's just to add, you don't need this because I know not everybody has these plugins, but I think this right here is enough. If you spend enough time tweaking it, I didn't spend enough time because I'm doing a tutorial, but if you spend enough time tweaking some notes and stuff, you can get it to sound really good. All right, so let's go in here and we can just add some notes. Whatever you think sounds good in it, you can just use, right? So use that one. You see, we're using the components here. You got a doubler and we got some wiggle in there. See, simple as that. Let's see how this sounds. And I want to shorten these up just a little bit more. All right, I think that's good enough, and I'm just copy this over. All right, so now let's go ahead and put the drums down and make a beat. All right, so now the melodies and everything is done. So now I'm just go ahead and make a beat, and I'm gonna go through the 808, but everything else I might fast forward or whatever. So again, now this part, now remember, well, we're in the G sharp. So most people might be like, oh, let me go to the G sharp. Nah, bruh. We started on the C sharp this time and going up to the G sharp. Right, and that's because if you look at our chords, you see it kind of follows this pattern. Okay, just to put it in there already. And let's just go ahead and all right, so that's the 808. So now I'm just gonna go ahead and go through the drum, probably just fast forward through it and everything. All right, so now we got the beat. It's nothing crazy, just something for the outro. But here's the melody and everything all together. And I did change, well, I didn't change anything, but I just pulled this down an octave, as you can see. All right, so here we go. All right, obviously need some mixing, but that's gonna be it for this video. Hopefully that was helpful. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe if you are new, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.